Oops. Oh, hey, Star Wars players. Sorry about that. This is Queso Sauce. Welcome to another episode of Holotheatre. Say hi, Dan.
Hi, everybody but Jerry. I
All
already
right.
said hi to you. I don't have to say hi to you
That's fair.
anymore.
That's fair. I appreciate it. So how's everybody doing tonight? Thank you for joining us. We already have a few viewers in our chat room, so thanks for stopping by and being here bright and early. Today's Holo Theater discussion, we have kind of two parts. Taco Bill is going to be with us later in kind of a video interview. We sat down with him a couple days ago and had a pretty cool little chat about the Jawa Cup and all that stuff. So that'll be kind of what we do at the end of the show. For the first little bit, Dan and I will kind of be talking about the tweak set and
Yep.
playing swing and a miss and all that kind of stuff, the normal Holo Theater stuff. So
Yeah, it's just your typical Wednesday show. Watching Jerry and I ramble about Star Wars.
yeah,
Uh, yeah. I mean, we got Endor. Endor's next week.
Endor is next week. We're both going.
So
So
yeah, you're going to be doing commentary. I'm going to be going
to play
three and
cards.
five.
No, you're going four and
No,
four.
I mean, okay. If I go 4-4, I'm going to be happy, but I'm shooting for a little bit better. Obviously, I'd love to go 5-2 and like maybe squeak into something. But I mean,
I
hey,
know. I know you just got home from work a few minutes ago, but did you happen to see that Chris Worst is bringing a keg for Endor? A keg of beer? I don't think that's ever been
well,
done
I mean, I'm
at
going
a
to say
Star Wars
this.
tournament before.
Well, I mean, the Euros have the bar right upstairs,
Right.
so I mean, it's kind of fitting. And Worse does like. I mean, Worse is this might be topping the Euros. I mean,
Hey,
I know I'm bringing something for Worse, being that the dude just celebrated his 50th birthday.
yeah, we'll
So,
definitely maybe at our,
I
our
mean, along with that, I'm bringing some other stuff, some other goodies for some Star Wars players.
nice.
So yeah, it's going to be a good event. I'm excited. I know you're excited.
Yeah.
We don't know who you're going to be doing commentary with, but hey, you know what?
Yeah,
Uh,
there's a few volunteers that
there,
we've got. We'll make it
8 to
work.
10 hours of Jerry's face talking about Star Wars cards.
Hey,
What else? What else is better than that?
exactly. I appreciate it. We always have a good turnout on our streams, and I feel like I'm lucky to be able to do this so often. So I'm glad everybody seems to like it when I'm doing commentary because I definitely like doing it and being there and being a part of everything. So yeah, it's going to be a good
Oh
time.
yeah.
I'm definitely looking forward to it. And we have a few volunteers who are going to help me out on Saturday, and then we'll kind of figure somebody out. You'll be there on Sunday if you're not making the top eight. You can maybe help out. We'll definitely have no shortage of volunteers to stop by the commentary booth. And I always like getting some of the players who've played on Saturday to come in and help us on Sunday because you get the perspective of players who just played in that tournament, so they kind of know exactly what they're talking about.
Yeah, and it's like you said, it's going to be a good event. I mean, the Seattle guys are going to put on some fun stuff, and then hopefully a lot of board games, card games,
Yeah.
various other games in the evening.
Yeah, Endor is a low pressure event for a major, and there's always just a lot of good times. People will probably end up going down, riding the train, going to
Yeah.
Seattle, and going and see the marketplace and all that good stuff. So that's always kind of a good part of the trip, and yeah, definitely looking forward to it. So I hope
Yeah.
if you're on the
I know.
fence or if you're able to come out, let's come out to Endor.
Yeah.
I think we got over
I'm
30.
getting there Thursday. Jerry, when are you getting there?
I get there like Friday, like right at noon, so I'll be there. Uh,
Just enough time to play in the team tournament.
Yeah, we're thinking about playing in the team event. We'll see how it goes. Also, could be a good time for us to do like a live stream from Endor. So we'll kind of play it by ear
We'll
and
figure it
see
out.
what it goes.
Yeah.
Either way, we'll be having fun, and you don't want to miss it.
No.
So yeah,
So, you want to get into talking about the tweak set because
yeah,
I know that's going to be some of the cards for the tweak set are going to be standard legal for Endor. If you haven't been paying attention on the forums, what's wrong with you? First of all, second of all, yeah, there's like we said, there's going to be some cards that are going to be legal. The new Luke Rebel Scout, Cytork Hellfast, Blaster Rack, and I know I'm forgetting one.
there's the Leia of Alderaan effect, and it's kind of mirror. It is overseeing it
The
personally. Yeah, I think those two
yeah,
cards got a little bit of a boost as well. So yeah, we had the Endor preview set that was kind of dropped similar timing the big errata of map and ROPS and a lot of the other cards that are out there. So we got kind of a preview set for Endor, which is nice to kind of change up the meta. Although the meta will be pretty different, at least in terms of the way the decks are built, since we did have that big kind of shake up
Yeah.
with the errata. But when we talked to Chris about all the errata stuff, he kind of mentioned that set 13 was their planned tweak set, and they've kind of accelerated that. So with that in mind, I don't think we have like a solid release date for the full set 12, but we're kind of gonna dive in and at least sort of talk about the tweak stuff and the stuff that we know about, and maybe a couple cards that Dan and I sort of have on our list of cards that maybe we want to see tweaked
Yeah.
regarding sort of that. So that's sort of where we're headed tonight. And if you guys have any comments in the Twitch chat, let us know, and we'll answer your questions or discuss anything you guys are interested in. So with that in
Yeah.
mind, do you want to go ahead and do? So we kind of talked about the Endor cards that were released. So those ones are already on GEMP. People have been playing with
Hmm.
those. So those are
Yeah.
have already kind of like sort of been part of the preparation for Endor. So did any of those cards sort of come into your deck? Obviously, Luke Skywalker Rebel Scout is sort of the big one because of the Like My Father Before Me errata. But that one's going to be, I think, probably the biggest
Well, I mean,
impact.
yeah, I think that one's, honestly, the bigger card is Saitor. The reason I'm saying this is being able to put a guy down on table and
To not
not
have to do a
not
simultaneous, right?
not having to do it simultaneously and risk, you know, pooling. It's really good.
Yeah, you're more likely to
It
put
gives
the
you a
character
lot more
out.
options
Yeah,
too.
because like if you
Um,
have the character out and you can just deploy the weapon, it doesn't have to be in your reserve deck. You don't have to check your reserve deck first. You just basically have to. You can play a little more. I don't know what the right word is, but you can just play more fair and more easy
yeah,
with how you're pulling your weapons, and it makes a lot of sense to me. Obviously, the matching thing has kind of been the Star Wars way with like combat response
yeah,
and stuff like that. But I feel like kind of tweaking it for both sides. I feel like light side gets a stronger benefit at first, specifically because of like Leia's blaster rifle is a really strong. Leia's really good in the meta right now. A lot of the decks are running multiples of General Leia, and pulling Leia's blaster rifle, which is an immediately lost weapon that can also shoot at vehicles,
yeah,
is kind of
eh,
crazy. So I wonder if
yeah.
that maybe
Mhm.
that card will kind of get pushed to the top of the power curve with the Saitor errata.
Oh, I fully expect it to. Um, I've seen a few people play it on GEMP. I've, I mean,
I think
it's a
yeah, it
good
was
card. I
in.
mean, people were playing it. I mean, I know that Greg Shaw,
Yeah, I was
just
just
like
gonna say, Greg played it in
Maroney were
his.
playing it in Legend,
Hmm.
and he was just floating it. So
Yeah,
now the fact that you can pull it, I mean, that's really good.
yeah,
But I mean, outside of that, I mean, Blaster Rack is good. I mean, but the big thing about Blaster Rack is you said it. Light side has a little bit more options, especially with Anakin's lightsaber, being that you can put it on Rey, Anakin, or Luke.
hmm.
That's really good. Vader has one lightsaber.
But yeah, there's already
Maul
a
has,
puller for Vader's lightsaber with "I am your father," so like,
yeah,
and
and
Maul has a puller as well. So it seems a little more disjointed for Darkseid, but like
exactly.
maybe I think when we were talking to Chris Kelly, he mentioned the Maul effect is on their list of potential tweak set
I think
cards.
you're
So
right. Personally, I would rather see some of the big bounty hunters get some of their weapons. Like Bosk is a good one.
yeah,
Uh,
there is weapon cards for like all those
there
characters.
are, and
We have a virtual Boba Fett's blaster rifle, but that's more of a CCT flip helper than a like
exactly,
true weapon.
exactly. And I mean, maybe that's a card we would may want to look at tweaking because keep that CCT, try and keep that CCT aspect to it, but make it a little better. Um, but I mean, outside of that, I mean, we still don't. I don't think we have a solid Sidious lightsaber. I'd love to see a Sidious's
Yeah,
lightsaber,
Dooku has a lightsaber, but
but it's
yeah,
okay. It, but yeah, I mean, Darkseid doesn't have that those other weapons.
agreed.
Is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
And
I feel like you're right
I
for
don't
sure.
know if it's because of the characters or what, but it just seems like they're lacking a little bit. Um, and outside of that, I mean, overseeing it personally and Leia of Alderaan, I mean, I like the changes they did there. Being able to put those on more characters is good. Overseeing it personally is a good card, especially against like a hidden base, being that you can put it on an Emperor, put it on a Vader, put it on any leader, put them at like what the Cloud City site, the 2/2,
Yeah, the downtown.
and that will help you against hidden base. Same with Leia. Leia Volron is it's not a bad card. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of play with that card in a little while. I think the last time I played it was in a Hitco a couple of years ago with at the
Yeah, that
NPC.
card often ended up
But
as like a 61st card for me. It was one that was like in my
right,
list to start, but it just like couldn't make the cut.
yeah. But now that you can put it on like a Hera, you can put it on a Rose, any
It's like any
any
female
female
of
character,
ability less
any
than three
female less than
or less
four.
than four. Sorry.
So that's why you can put her on Hera because she's a 3.
Right.
So I mean that helps, and it makes Leia a little bit better.
Does it make her a general when she has it on? So that way you maybe can play some different versions of
Not
Leia.
anymore.
Oh, okay. It used to do that.
It used to,
Okay,
but now that I think they got rid of that to make it more that you can put it on more females.
that's fair.
But I mean, you can still cancel the game text of an opponent's leader, ability less than 4, so you can cancel like Veers' game text, also game text,
Mm-hmm. And it
and
prevents your drains from being reduced or canceled, right? So
reduce or
that way
cancel.
they can't
So
play
yeah,
like
that's
Image of the Dark Lord or just use other things to cancel it, like yeah, I guess
exactly.
formerly strategic reserves, but now that card's out of the meta, so don't have to worry about that one anymore at least.
Which is a good thing, and that's. I mean, we've talked in a lot about all the changes they've done to map, OA, ROPS, like my father, all those decks. And I think overall, a lot of the changes are good. I think that Endor is going to be a good testing ground to see those changes in effect. Personally, I'm not expecting a lot of ROPS just because people are going to be tweaking it. I mean, yeah, we saw that ROPS was really good, but that version of ROPS isn't. I don't think it's dead, but I think it has to undergo some changes. And
Yeah.
being that it was a month ago, I don't expect. I'm not expecting a lot of ROPS on, especially day 2. Being that one, it's a deck that seems to go to time a lot, and two,
Yeah, it's a
those. Uh,
Yeah, I've been messing around with it a little bit more on Gemp lately, and I feel like I still haven't found the right build yet. Like, sometimes I feel like I want to go without Insignificant Rebellion so I can still get my code clearance and do stuff like that. Or sometimes I feel like it's better to play with Insignificant Rebellion, get the exchange every turn when you do Battle Destinies. So
yeah,
I think like you said, the best build hasn't really been figured out yet, and also that's a deck that likes to go to time. So I think there's safer options in terms of dark side decks for day 2 with a little extra time for day 3, like we kind of discussed last week. I think maybe we'll see a couple more ROPS decks on that day, but yeah, it's good. It's
so
good to see these things get tweaked because we were kind of talking before we started. The meta feels like it's been a little stale for the last like maybe 2 years or so. There's been ROPS has came into the meta, Legends come into the meta, a few different things, but
mhm,
specifically for me for light side, what we were kind of saying is it feels like the light side character base is relatively similar throughout many of its platforms. Like if you're talking about
yeah,
dark side, if you're playing map, you play with first order characters. If you're playing with IE, you play with Imperials. If you're playing with court, you play with aliens. But like with light side, if you're playing with Diplo, if you're playing with Legend, if you're playing with OA, if you're playing with TRM, you have Chewie with Bowcaster, you have Solo, you have Hera, you have Anakin, you have Padme, you have so many of this like similar. It's a very similar character package for
yeah.
each of those
And
light side
I think
decks.
I think you said it best. Outside of WAP, maybe a no idea, you're going to see a lot of those same characters because,
Because those
well,
decks
first of all, I
forced you
mean,
to play, other characters,
yeah,
and so
and
maybe we just need to be a little more stiff with the way we design our light side objectives, or make more the helper effects like a brave resistance, make it so that you could only play resistance characters, or something similar to that
well, I
potentially.
mean, if that's the case, then I think that we're going to need to see more resistance characters as it is.
Yeah,
Same with First
same
Order.
with
I
first
mean,
order.
First Order isn't doing too bad. I mean, I would love to see more First Order characters, more. first order ships,
Spaceships,
especially.
yeah, like there's like that first order tie and like
Yeah.
Kylo's tie silencer, but I feel like those just didn't meet the execution exactly. They didn't, they're pretty low on the power curve, so to speak. But yeah, definitely those
Right.
those two character bases will continue to get fleshed out because we've barely even scratched the surface on like episode 8 cards yet. So
Mhm.
maybe we'll get a little bit more into some of the resistance and first order themes in as we go along.
Yeah, and personally, I think it's a good thing that Disney's going to be taking the time off that they are. I want to see the PC essentially not catch up, but progress a little bit. So when the next movie does come out, I mean, we haven't even touched the Mandalorian, which
Right.
ended last month.
or
But at the
or
same time,
Solo, or like
Solo.
we've done a good job with Rogue One. We've done a good job with
Mhm.
Episode 7, but we haven't really we've done a little bit with Episode 8 with like the Last Jedi Luke and stuff. But I feel like we could
Yeah.
explore Episode 8 and obviously Episode 9, a lot more in the next couple sets for sure.
Well, I mean, let's leave episode 9 on the back burner. Let's flush out 8 first.
True, definitely,
I
definitely.
mean, so so yeah, you want to get into some of the cards that we would
Yeah, it was
hopefully like
just
to see tweaked
so yeah.
eventually.
When Dan and I were kind of
Being that we're doing
spitballing
with this theme.
yeah, we were kind of spitballing this idea for a tweak set episode, and I was like, why don't we come up with a card for each side that we might want to see on the tweak set? So, with that in mind, I'll start with one of mine first. I'll go with my light side card. I went with the Acclimator class assault ship. Um, for me, I love to play WAP, and I like to play Hyperdrive, and I talk to CRG a lot on Slack, and he loves Hyperdrive. I tend to try to use Republic, ships and Republic packages more than maybe most players do. And the Acclimator, while it's a pretty decent statted ship, it's similar to like a Profundity in like its Power 6, Armor 5, Hyperspeed, but I feel like it just doesn't quite do enough. Maybe it could. I say I don't have a specific thing that maybe just a higher destiny number or one or two cheaper deploy. Like the power could even be reduced. I just really like in a lot of these Republic based decks. I just need a boat to put a couple good pilots on and like hold a system with, and like paying 5 force and then paying another 5 for Anakin and like another 3 for somebody else to go on there. It's like all of a sudden I could have just paid for like the home one in another deck, and I'd rather just be doing that. So
Exactly. I mean, personally, I think, and this is gonna. I mean, this isn't me taking a shot or anything, but I think the biggest problem is you have almost 2 lines of text saying that it adds 1 to the attrition against an opponent for each piloted public starship there.
yeah, and like that text could disappear completely and be replaced with something a lot cooler. Like maybe it could deploy as a react if Padme on the table or Anakin. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
give it like some interesting game text as opposed to just sort of like this is kind of good if you do it with other things. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
It's a
but that's
cube
the thing.
card to me. Like it's a cube
Like you were
card.
saying, like you were saying, um, how many times are you going to put this with another ship? In reality,
Yeah, I'm not gonna play this and then like 3 other starfighters with it. Like I want this boat and maybe like a Bravo fighter or like an Azure Angel as
Mhm.
like my entire space package. So let me
Yeah,
have this boat be like I don't even care if it's power 5 or give me some immunity tuition less than 4. Like give me something. And obviously, like if you're playing a Republican-based deck like WAP or Hyperdrive, you can't even play like a Poe Dameron because the character restrictions. Like obviously Poe
exactly.
Dameron is a great pilot, and he adds a Destiny and immune nutrition less than 5 on anything, but I can't. I don't have
Yeah,
access to that card. The best pilot I have access to is Anakin, and like
yeah.
he's
And
pretty good.
how many times?
But I
And how
also
many
like
times
him
do
on
you
the
want Anakin
ground
on
and
the
a lot.
ground?
Yeah, exactly. I
Exactly.
want him with a lightsaber, adding one to each one of those. Like so I would like to see maybe if not the acclimator ship, maybe just sort of um, a different ship for the Republican based decks
Great.
that can go. And as I know you're a pretty big fan of WAP as well, so I
Yes.
figured you'd like that one. So yeah, we'll
Yeah.
get with
So
yours. We'll go with your
let's
light side
let's go
one
with my dark
first, or
side.
dark side. Okay.
Let's go with my dark side. Yeah.
All right. So you chose the IG Magnagar. So that one is a pretty recently released
Yeah.
card, but I told you it was okay to pick any set because if we're tweaking cards,
Thank you.
we might as well not matter what set they're from. So why don't you tell us about this one?
Exactly. So the main reason I'm thinking this is it's kind of underwhelming. I've watched the Clone Wars a few times here, and there's really I don't feel threatened by this card. I mean, watching the Clone Wars, these guys were up there with the Droidekas against Jedi's, and they really don't do much. Yeah, they can draw a Destiny if unable to otherwise, if they're on the Invisible Hand.
Yeah, that's pretty limiting.
Grievous bench value too. I mean, I can understand that being that he's their guard, but again, they really don't do much. They don't take into any consideration of the fact that they're assassins. Maybe give. I would love to see them with their staff.
Right.
And I
Like
would
an
say
EPP version that kind of like stuns characters
I
or
would say
something like
maybe
that.
get rid of the entire part of them drawing Destiny on the Invisible Hand, but and give them a staff or something.
Yeah.
Maybe have them because you always see like two or three of them together. So maybe they added maybe they draw a Destiny if there's two.
Yeah, because it is a triple unique card, so you could play two to a site, and they say when similar
Yeah.
like P59 or P60 says when in battle with another destroyer droid adds a destiny or whatever. Like
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
that's good game text, and like as cool as the immunity to clash is, it's only at the
it's
invisible
only on the
hand,
Invisible Hand.
and also
Yeah.
like if you're playing a deck like Crush the Rebellion is a card that you can just start and that cancels Clash. Like
Exactly.
I know Clash is a very swingy card. It can definitely like change entire games if you're not prepared for it or whatever. But if you're worried about that card, it's way easier than trying to get this guy on the table to just start Crush the Rebellion or find that card. I feel like it's a
And
lot easier.
and the other thing is with Crush, you get the ability to pull I Have You Now, which is really good against Jedi Luke's, which is really good against any rebel character
And
essentially.
lets you get Monarch, which is a polarizing card, but also can be a
Well,
game-winning card
it
too.
gets you a Vader Monarch, but
Correct.
still.
Right. Right. So yeah, in the Magna Guard, I think the coolest thing about them is you can pull them with the objective, the stunning move objective. Sorry, that's pretty cool. But like yeah, like you said, other than that, there's some decent game text on here. But I also just feel like yeah, maybe with take away the clash thing and then put permanent weapon is stun staff, and once per turn you can like make a character power -3 by hitting him or something. Like that'd be pretty cool.
And I would eventually love to see something come into play, being that they're assassins.
Yeah, and we had like a whole
And
Assassin's theme back in Legacy, so maybe
we
they're just
did.
sort of planting the seeds for
Hopefully, I
that
hope
now,
so.
and because that was a pretty fun objective back in the day, if I remember quickly, with like Aura Singh and Mara Jade, you could do some pretty cool assassin-y type things. So yeah,
So you want to move on to
we'll
your
go to my
dark side
dark
now?
side. Let's see here. Let's get rid of and put mine up here. So I picked a day-long remembered virtual, which is a set zero card. And I've often looked at this card and wondered why it was ever a thing, and why we needed to keep it from Legacy. Because I know it was a Legacy card, and so
It was.
it's deploy on table, and immunity to attrition everywhere is -3. You cannot fire permanent weapons. If opponent just lost a Jedi or a battle, they lose 1 force. During your draw phase, you lose 1 force or place this effect in your loss pile. So it almost has like a maintenance cost on it. And
Yeah.
like it just like I feel like there's a cool idea. Like maybe do you know a little bit more about what this card sort of was
So it
historically?
used to be, yeah, it used to say all immunity attrition is canceled.
That's insane.
So it was a way of getting rid of those high value. Because back in the day, Mace Windu used to be insane. He used to have the immunity. He was able to swing
He
twice.
also like pulled blaster
He
deflection.
pulled blaster deflection.
He was crazy,
He canceled Boba Fett's game text.
which he still does.
Yeah. So
But
I
yeah,
mean, so it was a good way for dark side and light side because there is a light side version
there's
of
a
the
mirror
card.
as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had
But
kind of forgotten about that.
so the way this I think supposed to be was like a hit and run kind of a card. So you go down, you get rid of your opponent's, you get rid of a Jedi, or you make them lose a battle. They lose a force. It goes back in your deck. You have a 6. You can track the 6, pull it again, do the same thing. But I think it lost a lot of the luster it had back in Legacy once they got rid of that, the immunity, canceling all the immunity.
So then I guess I wonder just like why was this card so important to keep when we did the reset? Like,
I
because
agree.
I don't think I've ever seen it or the mirror on a deck list, and maybe it's a cube card. like I could honestly see it being kind of cool in cube if you have like someone gets a really good immunity main or something, and you can't get them off the table and whatever, and it's Destiny 6, so that's always good for cube. But
Yeah.
like if this is a constructed card for modern tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 decks, I don't see what it's going to do for
Yeah.
me like at all. Like there's so many good permanent weapons, there's
It's
EPP Maul, there's destroyer droids, like the immunity to attrition -3, pretty cool. Like I can definitely see that being really neat in space specifically against certain decks. But I'm just not. I'm not feeling. And like you said, maybe there's some legacy reasons why this card was here, and maybe whatever.
yeah.
But
And
let's take cards like these that have literally, in my opinion, never been used since the reset, and
yeah.
this is basically just a blank template. It's got Vader and Tarkin on it, so why don't we make it like a cool effect, like that you deploy on a site when Vader and Tarkin are there? You do something cool, or I don't know. Like it's a cool image, and like it's a Destiny 6, so that's kind of like
Yeah.
a neat thing. But I don't know. I'm just not seeing why this card is still around. And if we're doing cards like a tweak set, a card like this, you could go almost anywhere. You could make this a set your course for Alderaan helper. You could just make this,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
so like that one seemed ripe for tweaking, if you're asking me.
Yeah. And I agree with the idea of a set your course for Alderaan. That's a deck that hasn't seen play in how long? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I
here
mean,
and there, especially with the Jawa Cup.
Mishki played one at a big tournament. I want to say like a year and a half, 2 years ago, and
Yeah, but
did.
that was before Mishki became
Yeah, he also got better when he stopped playing
Mishki.
decks like that. So maybe you're right. But yeah, we'll go to your next card. It was
So,
the light side
so
card.
my light set. I talked to this about this card a couple of weeks ago, or actually a couple of months ago now. Um, First of all, I love the image.
Hmm.
It's a great image. I don't know, courtesy of Robert. So Robert, I don't know who you are, but I love this image. It's a really good image. It's another holdover from Legacy, though.
I do remember this card from
I
Legacy.
don't
Yeah.
think I've ever really seen this card being played. And honestly, I would love to see this card. Especially, I mean, first of all, I think it's stupid with the profundity. If you
Hmm.
have this on table with profundity, and you're throwing the profundity down
It's like
to
for
an
one
opponent's location,
force.
or
Yeah.
no, not even that, it's zero.
Yeah. Okay.
You can get the profundity down for free with this, which is kind of well, actually, no, you can't.
I thought it was one. Yeah. Because it says to a minimum of 3 on there, and then
Three,
like.
so it becomes it's still two. So never
Okay.
mind.
But yeah, I mean,
But
I've messed
still,
around with this card a little bit, and I think when we were
but
mentioning it,
I don't. The problem is, one, we don't have any cool Mon Calamari ships outside of maybe the Defiance
the Liberty is pretty cool.
or the Liberty. I'm sorry.
The one that goes used.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Liberty's good because it goes used, but
Cause yeah, I had a light side no idea deck that used Mon Cal
yeah,
Dockyard. So like you
and
could pull a ship every turn with your objective. So you pull the Liberty, put it down, fight, go used, pull it. It was a very interesting kind of little mechanic. But obviously that
but
wasn't
but
great.
the thing is, I would rather have this as not a deploy on table, but I would have this card as like something you could pull from walk.
Okay,
That
so
way,
something you can use
so
walkling to get it out on the table, so it like deploys on your
right.
rendezvous point or
So
something
you're
like
not.
that.
It's not one of those cards that you have to start. So you can actually. You're not wasting essentially a third spot. Um,
That's fair.
or we could. Uh, but again, if this was a card essentially that was kind of like a mirror of quad drive yards, it would see more play because
Yeah,
you could pull.
I
Um,
mean, Lightside has a new secret base V, which I think is kind of meant to be its version of Kuat Drive, at least in terms of pulling systems. But
and I like a new secret base V, but again, the problem is, I mean, why not open up to more to cards that we're not seeing? Like
hundred
we have
percent.
Liberty, the Defiance. Make it so that I want to see more light side capital ships outside of EBO.
Totally, totally. Like
I
I,
mean,
I've always
I
thought
like
that like
cards like
doing a hidden base virtual objective should be based around like a light side space fleet kind of thing. Like
agreed,
a big
and
blue for light side. So maybe we can make like down the line make a virtual hidden base objective and have it like start the rendezvous point and the Mon Cal system and have the Mon Cal dockyards deploy on there or something like that. That would be pretty cool.
yeah, just food for thought. I mean, we're not like saying,
Yeah,
hey,
these aren't the
we don't
cards that
like
we
this.
know are going to get tweaked or anything. These are just sort of our
These are just
ones that we
like,
kind of
hey,
picked.
Jerry and I got bored one night and started talking. So
We do that a lot, don't we?
a little bit.
Cool. So I think that's kind of a good place to end on our tweaks. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen with this tweak set. We talked to Chris Kelly right before our winter break there, and when we were talking about the cards that they did the erratas for, and he's had some little hints here and there of cards that they might be thinking about, but obviously we don't know for sure. But we're pretty excited. For kind of seeing what the game could be. Dan and I both kind of said the game could use sort of just a reshaping of what the top tier metas look like, and playing
Well,
some different decks. And
I mean, if we're saying honestly, if we're saying the game needs something, why not? I mean, reshaping, redo, tweak. To me, those are other words for reset.
right, and I mean,
Hey, I'm just saying.
it's certainly it's something
I,
we've done before, and I think we've put a lot of work into this so far. So I think they kind of want to err on the side of caution. I don't blame them. Obviously, like when it's us and it's not the work that people have put in for 5, 6, 7 years, it's easy for us to say, oh yeah, just wipe it all clean, let's start all over. But like there's obviously a little bit more to that. And
the thing for me is I'm looking at the game. One, for me, I like to keep cards in binders. I have a plethora of binders behind me.
nice.
And I have one of each card in binders as a set.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Looking at the binders, I'm like, well, this card is forfeit fodder. This card is just binder fodder. We have so many cards
That's true.
in the game wise that one, we're never going to see. They're never going to see play, especially if we're making new cards with virtual cards. And two, they were just bad.
Right. I mean,
Like,
when you're a card company and you have to make cards for people to buy,
I
it makes
mean,
sense. But
yeah.
we have so many cards, like you said, and even we haven't even scratched the surface of the easy to get cards, because obviously we don't want to virtualize every card from Theed Palace or Coruscant
No,
or
and I think
Reflections 3.
that's
But
kind of like what Magic does with the restricted list, or
right,
they're never going to reprint list. For us, it's we don't want to use cards from the Reflections 3 and Coruscant because those sets are extremely hard to come by, and if you want to buy a box, you're looking at a couple $1,000s.
if there's even still boxes for you to buy,
I've seen people have the boxes, but I mean,
yeah, who's gonna
but
put $2,000 on the table for Star Wars cards? Like, if you really want to spend $2,000 on Star Wars cards, you can get almost everything you'd ever need to play with, instead of just a box of Coruscant
with
boosters.
the exception of like
With the exception of like
eligible.
AIs and multiples of Luke, but I mean, if you're telling me that $2,000 wouldn't buy you a decent player collection right now,
Oh yeah, I know for a fact that if somebody walked up to Reed Smith and said, "Hey, I'll give you
he'll give
$4,000,"
he'll give you $200.
I think he might consider selling it.
Yeah.
I'm not joking,
Well, hey,
but I
maybe
mean,
we'll
this
talk
is
to
also.
Reed at some point. We can see.
I mean, I know Stephen Lewis sold to the PC a while ago, so I mean, there are collections out there that people can get.
Oh yeah, I mean
So
we've had cause some of the guys in Colorado are returning, and they never really played for the last decade, so they're kind of catching up on a lot of stuff, and they've been able to get most of what they need relatively easy. So
yeah,
yeah,
and the other thing is, I mean, the community as a whole is really good in helping out other people. I mean, first of all, I mean, Ray is on a card that hardly ever saw play, and it's a common
yeah, we do a
on
good job
Clarion.
with like the full template
So
virtuals being on cards
yeah,
that are very easy to come by. I mean that should be the standard for that kind of you're not going to put a full
great.
template virtual over a super cool looking rare, like put it on the cards that look bad and have although they do also use those for like the inside jokes, like the Kylo Ren's lightsaber is the Han Seeker, which is that's amazing.
Well, yeah, and
And
electro binoculars are Maz Kanata,
yeah, and Lord Sidious is the Senate. It's the site.
and then you got
People in chat,
uh,
if you know any more of the inside jokes
I
for
was going
virtual
to
cards,
say
spit them out. Spit them
Admiral
out.
Vice Admiral Holdo is Collision,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a good.
which is great.
I don't think I knew that
And
one.
I will say this though, one of the cards that I'm kind of sad that we have that we have as a full template is Mithron Noodle,
Mithran or Duro or whatever.
yeah, whatever he's called.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that should be on a different card because one, we already have a virtual Thrawn. The regular Thrawn is good, and uh, I
Yeah.
mean, don't get me wrong, the Tom Hay Thrawn looks good, but I would rather have it on another Thrawn, but that's just my thing.
Oh,
You know what? I would love
that's a
to
good
see
one, Mike.
I would love to see a virtual Max Rebo.
Yeah, we had one back
Or
in Legacy that Brian Fred
we
did because
did. We did.
he's
And
the
I think,
Max
you
Revo
know
guy.
what? Who started the Max Rebo game? Was it B Fred?
I feel like B Fred was pretty much the original, at least from the way I know it. It might have been a thing back before, back in the old days, like before the PC. But like in the PC era, I know it as a Brian Fred thing for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well,
So, you want to go on to our second little
yeah. So
snippet?
a
You swing and a miss.
Oh, right. We're going to do that. Sorry,
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
yeah, so we got the interview, but let's do a swing and a miss first, and then we'll
Do
go
you have
into,
it pulled up from our chat discussion, or should I?
I got it.
You got it. All right.
So, let's go. So the big stuff for me is we've got Endor next week. The Outrider Cup's going on right now. I think Team America is down.
It's 4-3,
It's
from what I
4-3.
I think it was posted on Twitter. Yeah, it was a 4-3.
It's 4-3, and then in there's been 3 other games that have been played.
Okay, sense. Oh yeah, they're 1-0.
Euros up, Euros is up 2-1.
Okay.
I think Worse is one of the ones who won a game. So you called
Worse.
that.
Go Worse.
And I'm not sure who hasn't played. I want to say it's the Justin Desai matchup.
Versus Tom.
But,
I think he's playing versus Tom. I think Justin
yeah.
won by 28.
No.
I thought I remember seeing that in the Slack chat last night, or maybe the night before, but unconfirmed.
Unconfirmed. So, hit or miss, swing or miss, or it's a hit.
It's a hit, swing or miss. There you go.
Yeah, whatever. Team America will come back. And I'm going to say this. So, Joe Olsen has lost already to
Bastion. Yeah, I mean, you've been kind of on Team Europe recently, and I've been sort of just sticking.
Whoa. I haven't been on. I've been a fan of Team America.
Well, but at least in our last episode we talked about this,
Yeah,
and you were on Europe, Team Europe, and I was still just being the crazy patriot for USA that I am. But it seems pretty tough at this point because this is the last round, right?
This is the last thing. Okay.
Yeah.
So the scoreboard is all tied up right now.
Completely.
Tom has conceded to Desai.
Okay, so now it's 4-4.
So now it's 4-4, and we still have. Worse has to play.
Okay.
Justin and Greg have to play. And
Justin Silverglen? Because we have Justin.
Silverglen.
Okay. So
And
that's a
Steven
good
versus
matchup right there.
Mishki.
That's a good matchup right there.
That
Silverglen and Greg Shaw, and then Mishki. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna stick to my guns and say USA will be able to pull this one out of the hat in the last round, but. That Justin getting his done, obviously that was one that probably USA were counting on, just given the matchup there. So some of these other ones are a little more 50-50. So we'll see. I think if Greg can beat Silverglen, I think that'll be the big one. That'll be like the
if Greg, it's good. So I think it's going to come down to. Honestly, well, Worst is up by 23 on Kieran.
Okay, so that's a good start.
I'm going to say that's going to go to Worfs.
Yeah, it should.
So,
you should.
Honestly, it's going to come to so if America wins one of those 2 matches, Justin versus Greg and Stefan versus Mishki, America wins.
Okay, all right. Well, I like now that you break it down like that. I think I like my chances a little bit better. Obviously, losing the Joe Olsen to Bastion one is tough, but the Greg Justin one is the one for me though. Like
I'm sorry, I forgot. We also have Emil and Chris Kelly.
Oh shit. Well, okay, so that's another one that we forgot about. Okay, so that does. Oh.
I mean, we're always, we don't forget about Emil. We always forget about Chris Kelly. I'm sorry, man.
That's contractually obligated. I think we have to do that.
Yeah, we have to. I'm still gonna go with Euros. I like Emil right now. Emil's playing really good.
It's tough to
No offense to Chris Kelly, but I mean.
Yeah, I mean,
Emil's the two-time world champion. Chris Kelly is design advocate / NPC winner.
yeah, he's.
Um,
I'll stick to USA, but I certainly don't blame you.
I think I still think I like Stefan over Mishki. So I think it's going to come down to Justin and Greg.
Yeah.
And Silver Glen really impressed me in the OCS.
Sorry,
Like,
just give me 1 second. Keep going.
yeah, Silver Glen really impressed me in the OCS. I believe he actually beat Greg to advance.
Yeah.
In the finals. So that right there is good. So yeah, I like Silver Glen over Greg. I still think Worst is going to win that matchup, and I still like Kieran over. Like, if Silver Glen beats Greg,
That's the one for me. Yeah, I mean, obviously Emil and Chris
you
Kelly
have
is
to
a toss-up
yeah,
as well. So
yeah, it's no, I'm like 60% on Emil. I'm gonna go 55 on Silver Glen, and 51 on Stefan.
okay, fair enough. So I mean, obviously the confidence meter isn't too super high on a lot of those, but
Hey,
uh,
I'm just saying, like, I know Mishki's a good player. Mishki just came top 2 in Worlds last year over that stacked European group.
Mishki's really good. I mean, honestly, like just like the three
I mean,
matchups, the one I like the least, I think, is the Emil Chris Kelly one. So,
agreed,
you know,
agreed.
so yeah, I think the USA we can pull this one out. I got faith in our
Yeah.
boys. We'll take
You
this
know
home.
what? I'm gonna say this. The player who's probably like Worst was probably the strongest pick for them. Worst played Bastion in the first round. He was playing ridiculously well against him in game 1.
Yeah, I saw that
Discord
one.
versus Bastion's throne room, and outside of one mistake,
Yeah, that was a good
and
game.
that game could have went worse. I mean, if Worst would have beat Bastion in that game,
That would have really helped.
I think that would have given Team USA the boost that it needed.
Yeah, but they got a little slow start, but it seems like they're coming on in these later rounds. So we'll see
You know
how it
what?
finishes.
I'm going to say this. I will say this. I think it was Justin who said it the best. They got together and decided to come together as a team and under the guise of Coach Desai, and so
Yeah,
maybe Desai gave them a nice little pep talk to get them motivated.
fair enough. So do you have any more? It's a hit.
Yeah, I got
Okay.
a few more. Remember?
Okay. 'Cause we do
So
have
the next
a
one,
25-minute interview, so we should think about getting that going soon.
Yeah, so we'll do like a quick. We'll do the rest of them as quick. So the
All
next one I'm going to say is a player from Seattle is going to win the Indoor Grand Prix.
Okay, player from a player from the Endor region or specifically Seattle.
The Indoor region.
Okay.
So
So we open ourselves up to like a Mike Turner or Oregon player or two. Okay,
no. Like, okay, so I'm going to say this from Washington.
from Washington. Okay, so that gives
From
us
Washington.
like Werfs, Harpster,
Joe Olson,
Olson.
Phil,
Phil is Oregon, isn't he?
but I don't know where Phil lives.
But also
I-
Phil can't play in Sunday if he makes top 8. So I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, he has to go early or something. He was going to actually be the tournament director before Chris Schoenthal confirmed that he could be there.
Oh,
So.
whoa. Wait, Schoenthal's going to be there.
Oh, you
my
didn't know
God.
that?
This is going to be better.
Yeah. So
I can't
Schoenthal.
wait.
So everybody, yeah, Chris Schoenthal has figured out a way to be there. He'll be the tournament director for Endor,
Sweet.
for all the things. So
Okay.
there was kind of some
I'm
question.
so for
We
this
didn't know
one,
who was
I'm
going to
going to
do it.
say it's a hit.
Okay, I'll say swing and a miss.
Okay. That gives me incentive. That gives me hope.
Yes.
But no, I like the Seattle crew. Joe's playing good. Werfs has played really well.
Oh, totally. That wouldn't surprise me.
I'm gonna say this,
I just feel like
my-
the field. There's only like 4 or 5 dudes that I'd consider out of the Washington State. So I'll take the field.
Okay, I'm gonna take the Seattle guy. I'm gonna take the Washington guys.
Oh, you're right.
and
Apparently, Mike
my
Turner
dark
says
side-
Phil does live in Seattle. I thought he was
Okay,
Oregon for
sweet.
some reason. So
So
that's my bad.
my dark horse to win it is Harps. I'm
Okay.
saying that right now. Steve, do not
He
disappoint
was in the
me.
finals last year. Can he be a dark horse?
Yeah, because it's Harpster.
Okay. Um.
So the next one we got is out of day three. Three of the light side decks are going to be throne.
On day three, three of the
On
eight.
day three,
Three of the
three
eight.
to eight are going to be at least three.
Swing and a miss.
It's a hit.
All right. I could see you being right, but wouldn't surprise me.
Next, ROPS will not be ROPS will not be used day three.
ROPS will not be used day three. I'll say it's a hit. People are gonna just avoid it because they don't want to play it. It's too much mental drag, and other stuff is better. They haven't figured it out yet. It's optimistic of me because I don't want to cover a bunch of ROPS games on Sunday.
I'm going to say it's a miss, and I'm going to say this. This is what I'm going to say. Chris Worfs is going to bust it out with pod racing.
He's been playing pod racing with everything on GEMP lately.
No,
so. And pod racing is bugged as heck on GEMP. So yeah, you might be right.
It is. Yeah. So, okay. Next one. A player who has not yet won a major will win this tournament.
Okay. So, of the guys who are going to be there who've won majors, we've got like Joe Olson. We've got Phil. But has Werfs actually won one yet?
No.
Okay, so I will say it's a hit because I think a guy like Werfs or a guy like maybe one of my team high ground guys, they can take it home. Justin. I got more hope for Justin.
Justin's a good player. Yeah. I'm going to say it's a hit as well.
Cool.
Okay. Last one.
All right.
Your co-host is going to win some glass.
Dan, you're going to win some glass? It's a hit. I got total faith in you.
Okay, so that means that me and you are going to have to do well in the team tournament then.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so why don't we move on? It's a hit. It's a hit. Swing and a miss for this week. Jerry's actually going to punch up the interview with Taco Bill Kafer, fellow Air Force guy.
Yeah, we sat down with Taco Bill to discuss the Jawa Cup, which is just wrapping up here.
Yeah, I think I want to say they're in the top four.
Yeah, top four,
or maybe in the top two finals.
Yeah, so
I'm not sure. After I got eliminated, I couldn't care.
I was kind of in the same boat, but it was definitely kind of a cool thing that came about, and we even got to the chance to sort of award a special thing to Taco Bill for doing this. So it's a pretty cool watch. So definitely it's coming up here, and hope you guys appreciate it. And we'll be signing off after that. So thanks for tuning in this week.
We'll be back, and
we'll check in with you when the video's.
Yeah, we'll make sure everybody's we have a proper goodbye.
Sounds good. All right, it should be starting here right about now. Hello, welcome to our special interview with Bill Kafer, Taco Bill. How you doing, Bill?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
Good. How about you? How's the East Coast treating you over there?
I love the East Coast. Except it's almost
really?
So
You're still over in the DC area, correct?
DC area would be correct, yes.
All right, right on. That's pretty much where I was born. I was born in Silver Spring, Maryland, so probably decently close to where you're at.
Yeah, no, I have friends that live in Silver Spring, and we go there for trivia on Sundays. So.
Right on, right on. So you play trivia twice a week? Because the whole reason why we're scheduling this interview now is you play trivia on Wednesdays.
We're big trivia buffs, you know.
You guys are into that. Do you
when
make
you're
a lot of money?
Like us.
Do you make money, or is it just beer tabs, or what?
I mean, we make gift cards.
Gift cards. There you go.
You know what? That's just as good.
Free beer, free hot wings. That works.
What kind of trivia do you do?
So it's a company called Geeks Who Drink. It's really
I've heard of them.
Everything. I mean, there's a music round, there's a visual round. It's generally just trivia.
Yeah, I think I've done a couple of theirs. They do stuff around here in the Denver area, so they seem to be pretty fun.
Now, this is why I need to get back to either out of California, out of this like no-name little town that I'm in, and I love I'm a big trivia person. Like watching. Fun. I don't know if you guys have watched it. Like, have you guys watched any of the Jeopardy Greatest of All Time?
Me and my wife watched a couple of episodes of them.
Yeah, we're starting that today. Actually, right after we finish.
Right? Yeah.
No spoilers.
I mean, that's the good thing about I don't have TV. I've got Hulu, and I mean I'm a day behind, but I stay off the forums. Anybody.
Yeah, no, I don't know what happened. I saw some trash talking from Ken Jennings, but I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So
I like the
it is.
the
It's
relaxed
really interesting.
Jeopardy.
I mean,
They were kind of joking back and forth in between clues and stuff. So yeah,
No, I'm excited.
it's a fun episode to
I
watch for
love
sure.
scuba trivia, and I love stuff like that. So
and of course, right now, being that we're filming this on Monday, we're all missing the NCAA championship game that's going on right now. So,
Yeah, we'll keep it short and sweet so we can get back to watching that. But
oh yeah,
go Tigers, right? I can say that.
you can say that.
Go Tigers.
Be a little bit more specific there, Bill.
I think I can just say go Tigers.
Jerry.
All right. So our real reason for talking to Bill is we're about to sort of wrap up with the very first Jawa Cup, and Bill was kind of the big driving force behind making that happen. Bill, do you kind of want to go through the idea, how it sort of started, and why you kind of came up with this format?
Yeah. So this, I can't take all the credit. Absolutely, this is kind of like we worked together with Karan, Kendall on the forums, and Eric Hunter. Actually, kind of we were kind of the big three behind developing this. From my point of view, this kind of after Continentals, I wanted to get into doing more content, and one of the things I wanted to do with Greg Shaw, if he would have me, was we were going to play an ultimate grudge match where we each played every deck against each other.
Okay.
And so the big focus of that for me was kind of getting these decks that weren't played as much. So like we had all played ROPS and we had all played
Map and
TRM.
And
pick a deck, right?
Right.
We've all played those for the past 6 months. So being able to go in and play like a Stunning Move or Entanglements or Invasion or any of these decks that didn't get played as much, I thought that was going to be a good thing to do. And so in talking to Karan and Eric, we kind of put together this thing where we're going to ban the top decks and we're going to ban the top players, honestly. Nothing against the top players. We love the top players. But just they have their own. They have their Outrider Cup. They have their OCS finals. And so, like, much like when the NPC came together several years ago, it's a chance for everybody to get involved in a big tournament like this.
Right on.
And you had your hands in the initial creation of the NPC. I mean, that was, I want to say it was you, Greg, and Chris who came together initially and decided, hey, we want to do this NCAA bracket type of tournament. And what I want to say 9-10 years later, it's probably, besides Worlds, it's the biggest tournament that we have.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. So the NPC came about was me and Greg driving back from, I want to say it was Origins or Gen Con, one of those big tournaments in kind of the Midwest. And selfishly, I had never played in a top 8 in a match play format. And so, like, for me to be able to get involved with that type of tournament was cool for me. And so that's kind of where the NPC came from. And I think the Jawa Cup kind of follows that model.
Yeah, I think we did an episode last year before the NPC with you and Greg and maybe even Chris Gogolin where we kind of talked about the creation of the NPC. So go back and check that episode out on the YouTube channel if you want a more deep dive with Greg and everybody on the NPC's creation. Because I remember that episode being pretty fun to watch. So.
Yeah, that was a good episode. I mean, Bill and Greg, they offer great entertainment value.
That's right.
I'm glad that's what I offer. It's great entertainment.
So, in your experience while running the Jawa Cup, I remember you kind of saying you didn't expect it to kind of grow to the big tournament that it became. It ended up having over 40, 50 players who ended up signing up for it.
Absolutely. Like when we first put it together, or when I was starting to kind of put out feelers or whatever, I was thinking maybe 20, 30 people. I think we ended up with 57 people starting and probably close to 54, I think, finishing.
Yeah, it looks like you had
way bigger than I thought it was.
Yeah. I mean, Jerry and I both played in it. I don't know about you, Jerry, but it was fun, at least from my standpoint. I mean, I played some decks that one I knew I was really familiar with. I tried getting a little out the box. I played a Watto that Anthony Howard, Batmouse, he developed, and I mean that was fun. I mean, Watto seems to me like it's kind of back now in some sense. It seems like it's a fun deck again. So
Yeah, Wada was
that was
pretty good
fun.
in that format. I played
Mm,
I had a few matches where I got matched up with European players, so I had some scheduling issues with some of
yeah.
mine where I kind of had to like figure out a deck at a weird time or whatever. But I definitely had a good time. I got to play my Space WAP deck, which I really liked, and we had
Hmm.
our local tournament month was in a Jawa format, so it was good to play some games
Yeah.
in Jawa Cup just to kind of play test what I wanted to build, in real cards. So
Yeah. And even I played your Space WAP. It was really fun. The only bad time that I had was one against JagTech in my first game. I made a
yeah,
lot of mental errors, just
I remember you streamed
rust.
that one.
There
Yeah.
was so much rust in that game, and then I went on. I mean, personally, I went on a nice little tear, going 4-0. The rest like 4-0, and then I run into JJD, who I put him on hit code the entire time. So I'm talking to Reed Smith. I'm talking to the Pittsburgh guys, Justin Curley, Matt, and I'm like, what do I play against him? I'm putting him on a hit code because he's Chris Kelly's friend, and that's all they know how to play. So of course I'm talking to B Fred at the time too, and he goes, "Play my ISB." If anybody's not familiar, you put down Presence of the Force on the Jedi Council chamber.
It's like the
You go
field
there and
promotion style ISB.
yeah, yeah,
That'd be very
and
good campaigns, yeah.
it's good, but the only problem is for some reason decided to play Yevon 4 Ops, which is just an automatic scoop for me.
Yeah, that's pretty tough. Light side heavy space deck against a deck like that. So definitely not
Yeah,
the
and
matchup you were looking for.
not the matchup I was looking for. I took out all space out of the deck, so there was nothing.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, but I
Yeah.
guess even if you were to play some space, it would just get blown out by crazy, squadron assignments and Luke and Wedge and all that stuff. So
But seeing those type of decks like Y4 Ops, what a deck that you don't see in any of the majors,
which I hope will
was great.
change with, because I think map was a real struggle because the whole engine for Y4 is getting your 4 strain to go through in space so you can liberate the system and all that stuff. And map would just throw a trooper down, cancel your drain every time. So
Yeah,
you couldn't get your engine running as much as you wanted to. I think with the strategic reserves getting blanked and things like that, I think map could, or Y4 Ops could hopefully see a little more of it. We'll definitely see it Endor, hopefully a
yeah,
little resurgence.
That was actually Yavin 4 was one of the surprising decks for me because I tracked all the games and like anybody who sent in kind of their game replay I tracked and said like, oh, Yavin 4 operations versus X, Y, and Z, how did it do? And Yavin 4 operations was one of the decks I thought was going to be stronger in the format, and it ended up actually going 3-7. So one of the weaker light side decks, to be fair.
Yeah.
That was actually really surprising for me because I thought that would be one of the stronger decks because that's kind of like tier 1.5, tier 2.
yeah.
You play in open, but here it just kind of didn't translate.
I wonder because I remember we had I was talking to Justin Desai before the Jawa Cup, and he said that was light side deck he would consider for a Jawa Cup
Yes,
format.
yeah,
Maybe that was sort of the deck that people were sort of like EBO and Y4 kind of seemed like some of the bigger decks for light side going in. So maybe dark side was sort of thinking, all right, I got to be prepared for light side space, and maybe that kind of contributed. What was
I mean,
EBO's record, if you don't mind me asking?
EBO, I have this in the thread that I posted in the Jawa Cup forum. EBO was actually the most played light side deck. It went 13-10, so it did pretty well.
Okay, so yeah, just over 50%, maybe somewhere in the high 50% winning
So
percentage.
if I'm looking at light side decks that were played, it's probably right in the middle for ones that were played for more than 3 games.
Okay.
But yeah,
so I mean, was there any like real surprises deck wise that you saw?
So I mean, we had 19 decks each side, I think, is the number that I wrote down. Yeah, so 19 different decks for light side, 19 different decks for dark side. So, I mean, that's going to create some surprises, obviously, right? So, like, would you think anybody would have played, like, Twin Suns or City in the Clouds? We each had at least one game with those decks.
Really?
Like, yeah.
Huh.
We even saw someone at Worlds play the dark side starting objective, the Twin Suns one. So, yeah, I think people do see some potential with that start for sure. At least.
But then even, like, Jakku mains and Hoth careful planning mains, and we had a Mind Which You Have Learned, we had a Senate, we had a Rebel Strike Team. So it was really cool to see that kind of mix of decks. So that was kind of surprising. I think the biggest surprise I saw was that ISB operations did not win a game in the decks that were reported to me, or in the games that were reported to me. So
I'll be honest, I'm not 100% surprised about that. ISB is it took a nice little hit. Uh, One, Tally is really good against that deck. Not be, Being that your guys don't have that nice little that forfeit value in space is really good. And the other thing is, like I said, it ISB just I don't know. It's missing a few things, and I noticed on the forum, you do have all the stuff up there, Bill. You might want to decrease ISB by another because like I said, I lost with
Right.
ISB versus Y4 ops. So yeah, ISB did not do well.
Yeah, I feel like ISB is in a tough place. Like, ever since like See You Around Kid was a pretty good counter for like the version that I was playing, like Matt Wadden style with like the walkers and things like that. Not the field promotion version, but the kind of more standard Imperial version. Like that card like almost single handedly killed a lot of like your ground game of like using Tarkin to cancel destinies and things like that. And so yeah, I feel like ISB is in kind of a tough spot. But with that in mind, sort of the other way around, is there any sort of decks on your list or in your mind that now that maybe people have played them some more that can kind of make the jump from Jawa to open, so to speak? Like,
So I would say Entanglements, I think, performed pretty well in the tournament. I think it won 2/3 of it, so 10-5
okay,
throughout the tournament from the games that I saw.
I think I was
So
one of
that's
those
pretty good.
five.
Huh?
I think I
You were
was
one
one
of
of
those.
those five.
Was that the deck that we streamed too?
Yeah, I streamed that one. I think that was against I can't remember who it
Yeah,
was, but I think it might have been against my team high ground teammate Bob Gornall. He
yeah.
played Prophet against me, and just I walked into a stupid beatdown with like Jedi presence and stuff.
I think Entanglements was kind of primed to take over the power vacuum that was created when Rops kind of got knocked down a notch.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of them. I think so. CRG will love this, but Hyperdrive was the best performing light side deck. I don't know if that's ready to kind of take over in open, but
What?
definitely going 4-1 in the Java Cup. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Hitco there as well, and that's even without like my father before me.
Okay.
That
So
went 3-1. Profit also had a 7-14 winning percentage over 14 games. Let me pull up the
okay, that's
actual.
pretty strong. And then
Yeah.
that's a deck that can use like my father before me, but
Yeah,
really doesn't
7-4.
usually necessarily. So
Uh,
I
yeah, and I
certainly
think
wouldn't use it
profits.
now.
No, I
You
think,
wouldn't use
and like you
Profit
said,
right now? I
oh no,
think
I
you
would. I like
give
profit right now a
consideration to
lot.
Profit right now.
I'm not sure how I feel about Prophet right now. I think it could be pretty decent. I've liked the Jedi Biz builds that I've seen, but yeah,
I would
I don't
even go another direction. I would look straight at Sator
just
Profit.
Yeah, Saitor seems to be coming back in a huge way ever since the Like My Father Before Me errata. People are playing a lot of Leia's blaster rifle because it's really good against like court and stuff.
That's a
So
good.
yeah,
Like I said last week, there, Jerry. Leia's Blaster Rifle is probably going to be one of the most popular cards at Endor.
yeah, I think people are starting to pick up on it, and they're gonna run. I don't know if they'll go so far as running what is it, Nagak War Beast, like a light side Chlor Slug, but maybe a couple copies of the what is the interrupt?
Imbalance.
Yeah, the imbalance combo that makes it so they can't go
Oh
automatically
no, no, that's
lost.
That'll cancel proficiency, but that won't do
that
Right?
anything.
won't
Yeah. There's I
You're
forget
thinking Lana, the Lana
the
Del
Lana
Rey.
Dobreed sacrifice combo. That's the one. Sorry, I just
Yeah.
Still
couldn't
won't
come
do
up.
anything against Leia's Blaster. Still tough.
Really?
Yeah,
What?
still hit, immune to Dr. Reed, but not immune to being lost.
Oh, okay. I thought it made it. So yeah, I guess maybe you would have to run the Chlor Slug mirror for Darkseid to sort of prevent your characters from going lost.
Well, if that's the case, then I mean, oof.
I mean, you can pull it with your masterful move. Maybe you just have to run regular Gicks instead of Gick combos or something like that. But I don't know. I don't know what other counters you can really do. But yeah, Leia's Blast Rifle seems like it's because I remember did Greg run it in that Legend deck that he played at Continentals? Pretty sure it was in
Yes.
there.
Yeah, he did.
And that didn't even run Saitor. Like, so you were just like pulling it once per game out of your use pile, or just finding it when you needed
Oh.
it. So crazy stuff. Um, so yeah, let's see. I had a couple of questions or things that were submitted to me from CRG.
Oh, you did?
One of them was kind of what I just asked: which decks can jump into the open meta? Um, were there any decks that you sort of expected to be big when you started the Java Cup that maybe weren't? Sort of like surprise decks. I guess we kind of covered that a little bit with the the
The Garden 4 Ops.
yeah, the Y4 Ops. That was the one.
Um, if you were to tell me, like, if I were to have played in Java Cup, I think I would have played WAP a lot, and WAP just did not seem to do as well as I thought it would. It ended up being 4 and 5 in the games that I saw. But I mean, at the time, like WAP, I was looking at WAP in open play as a viable deck, and then to see it not perform that well in the Java Cup kind of
that is kind of surprising for sure. Because I think I played a couple games with WAP, and I definitely played it at my in-person Java Cup tournament.
I think WAP still has the issues with Hunt Down. Not only that, I mean, I'm looking at some of the stuff that you posted, Bill. Looks like WAP played against CCT, so Hunt Down, ISB. Actually, that was one of the ones I won, so that was. And mains, a lot of mains, and TTO. So I can see why WAP didn't perform well. I mean, it went 2-1 versus Hunt Down, which is pretty fair. I mean, with Matt, Hunt Down's going to go down to the throne room. You're just going to sit outside. You have space. They might not have space. I mean, if they do, they're taking away their best character with Ball.
Yeah, I think it kind of depends on the WAP build also, if people are running space, if they're not running space. I think right now the space WAP is a better than just going all in. I think if you're going to go all in on just, ground characters, you're better off playing something like Prophet or maybe a Hitco kind of deck. But
well, I mean, yeah, because WAP now has access to Camino, which provides another 2-0 site. Which, I mean, that right there helps WAP a lot. I mean, WAP doesn't do well with its activation.
Yeah, but I feel like if you are going to run Camino, then you have to run space. Because, you're just going to give up a 2-2, a drain. A lot of decks are just going to attack that 2-2 system and take it over unless you're able to, So running Camino is nice because, like you said, it gives you a free Twix. But it is sort of it kind of warps the way you have to build the deck, because I wouldn't run that necessarily unless I was planning on at least having Bravo Fighter plus Landing Claw to back it up and sort of make it less of a liability.
Hey, thanks, Jerry. That's one of the decks I'm thinking about taking to Endor.
I have it built.
So do I.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, nice. It's a lot of fun to play, and I think Rops was kind of tough for it. That's why I definitely like to play it in the Java Cup tournament. But with
Rops was bad for anything.
Rops was kind of just bad for everything in some ways. So definitely.
I have strong feelings on Rops that I will not bring up here. The other one you mentioned, you talked about Hunt Down a little bit, and I figured Hunt Down would kind of be one of the better decks to take to a Java Cup. But Hunt Down, while it was the most played Dark Side deck, I think 27 different games had Hunt Down involved. It ended up going not very well for Hunt Down. I will pull up numbers here. It went 10 and 17 overall.
Wow.
So a 370 winning percentage, so much lower than I would have thought Hunt Down would have gone. But maybe that speaks to kind of Hunt Down is better against, maybe slightly better against mains because it's a 50-50 matchup, whereas you might run into a matchup that's not as good in the Java Cup.
Yeah.
And Darkside mains kind of just seem to be in a tough spot right now, meta-wise overall. I think we kind of discussed that a little bit last week on the show. It's just you don't seem to see, when you think of the top Darkside decks, you think of Court, you think of Map, you think of Rops. But the first mains deck that you think of is probably Hunt Down, but I think it's your 4th or 5th deck at least that you're thinking of when it comes to the top ones. So yeah, with that in mind,
so do we have any other questions from the
I think that was just
viewers?
About all that I had. But yeah, so we also have it's a pretty special surprise to talk to Bill about. When you started the Java Cup, like you kind of mentioned, I don't think you ever imagined it would sort of merge and become into this big tournament and its own separate format on GEMP, and people are still playing it all the way through till January. And what do you kind of see the future of the Java Cup being a yearly thing, or was this just sort of something that you wanted to try out, or where do you kind of see the future of it going?
I mean, I saw it kind of happened at the right time, right? Because you had all of the it's kind of the off season, if you will, for Star Wars, after Continentals, after Worlds, between that and Endor, and then you had the Outrider Cup running. So the type of player that I am, what do we have going on at that point? So it kind of fit that little niche.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's a great time to run a Java Cup every year. At that point, where you ban kind of the top 4 or 5 decks from Worlds, maybe the top deck from the last Jawa Cup, something like that.
Definitely.
But yeah, I think that's kind of, we were positioned well.
So you might even say that, like, in between, after Worlds is over, in between when the next tournament season starts, we kind of need like a siesta to kind of take a break, like maybe
Right.
even a Jawa siesta, right?
Yeah, all right.
So with that in mind, Chris Kelly has told me that as a sort of a special award for you, you're going to be able to design a virtual Jawa siesta.
Jesus. Okay.
So, and he also sort of mentions on here, he's looking for more of a Lord Sidious than a punishing one. So, maybe think on it for a little while.
Fair.
And, think of which. So, will this be your first light side design in the current meta?
That's not true, because I exist as a V card with Kin Can V.
Oh, that's right. Okay. So yeah, do you have any sort of thoughts of what you would want to do with the Jawa Siesta card? Would you want to make a Jawa helper or more of a sort of generic aliens helper? Like,
oh man, let me tell you. So I recently, me and Greg Shaw kind of split cards, and so he recently kind of gave me all the cards back, so that I have kind of a play set and he has kind of a play set, right?
Okay.
And so in going through and sorting all of those cards, the amount of light side rebels and light side resistance and light side, what's Anakin Skywalker and Padme?
Republic.
The amount of those compared to the light side aliens that there are like there's very few light side aliens that I said, hey, I need these cards. And so I think making like a light side aliens helper, maybe an Agents of the Court helper, in the vein of
Ancient Watering Hole.
Yes, Ancient Watering Hole seems like something worth doing.
Yeah, I know one of my
very cool.
One of my Team Colorado guys, Justin, he has a Jawa deck, Agents in the Court, that I'm sure will be very excited to see. Jawa Siesta, like normal, it's like pay 3 force from each person's force pile to make all your Jawas forfeit +1. So I mean, you've got a pretty low bar to get better than that. So I think whatever you come up with will be all right.
So
Jerry,
what?
Jerry, don't challenge him. I mean, this is the guy who made Punishing One.
Yeah, I forgot that was even a card, honestly.
Did you make Dengar as well?
No. So somebody told me when I was making Punishing One, Dengar was in development at the time, and I was like, oh, okay, this is the perfect time to make Punishing One. But then it was I forget if it was Kurt or if it was Andrew Moss who was making Dengar, and I don't even think he adds power to the Punishing One. Like, we were on 2 different wavelengths, and it just kind of worked out.
Oh boy, that's
not great.
That's terrible.
Maybe they can take a look at one of those cards in set 12 and tweak it a little better.
I don't know. I keep getting messages from Marines, from Brian on Slack about how he's using Black 3 and Punishing 1 and all these 2 there are in the same deck, and it's fantastic.
He's your own little fanboy there.
So here's my question. I mean, there's a Jawa Siesta for both sides, correct?
I think it's just a light side card.
That's a great question.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. I'm thinking. Yeah, you're right. I'm thinking of Jawa Pack.
There you go.
So
I feel like because like Darkside has the crazy Jawa, the Ritik Wii one or whatever. That's
whoa.
That can be kind of abusive.
He's not crazy. He's not crazy. He's not abusive. He's fine where he is.
He's pretty strong. The whole using force from the force pile of your opponent mechanic.
Well, then I guess you'll enjoy
love that
version of him with Jawa Fiesta V.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, maybe it can be like you can make it into a character, and it can be like Jawa Pack or Jawa Trio, and it could be like 3 Jawas, so it could be power 3, ability 1.
Hi.
I don't know.
I hope the player creators, whoever they are these days, will let me invite both Eric Hunter and Karan to make this card.
You know what? That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a very good idea.
Because I can't take credit for this format or anything. I was just kind of the guy that kept the notes and whatever.
Kept it going, and hey, there's something to be said for all that. So yeah, we want to, the PC, Holotheatre, everybody want to thank you for running the Jawa Cup, sort of being the guy in charge of it, and it was just it was something that I think the community didn't know that it needed, but it was something that we really kind of latched onto and had a lot of fun
Yeah.
with in
Yeah.
our holiday season and stuff. So we want to thank you for taking the initiative and doing that. And I think we, like you said, we might have something that comes up every year and it's kind of just a new part of our yearly routine.
Yeah, no, I look forward to it.
Yeah.
Maybe next year I'll play.
There you go. We can get someone else to run it for you so you can
Well,
play.
I was going to say, so the only reason that you would play is if you're not in the OCS top 16, correct?
You're correct. I'm
So,
sorry.
Yeah,
you
we're
know,
all
I'm gonna
planning
say
on
this,
not
Bill-
playing because we're going to be in the
Bill?
top 16, right?
Yeah, exactly. I would say 2/3 of us are have that hope. Jerry, you could win the Jawa Cup.
Hey, I'll take whatever I can get. It's cool. It's all good.
Yeah, I was
Oh.
gonna say, you know what? I think we need to get. I'm jealous of Bill's trophy collection. I see at least what, three glass, and
Seems like he's strategically
mug?
hiding some alcohol bottles behind there.
I'm strategically hiding some but I did place, the donation trophies and the consolation trophies up there.
Hey, at least you have trophies. I don't even have
Don't forget
those.
the consolidation trophy. That's the most
Hey,
important.
hey,
The consolidation
What-
trophy, not the consolation
co-
trophy.
the consolidation. Which one do you have there, Bill?
Hold on. Ooh, one of those is actually a sixth place.
They give out trophies for 6th place?
Oh, listen, the SoCal Grand Prix in 2011, I finished
There you
in
go.
place. Probably the most stacked top 6 I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
I think I was
'Cause
at
I
that
was like-
Grand Prix.
You know, I've done a lot of like the historical research of some of the tournaments and stuff, and just seeing how stacked the SoCal tournaments were was insane. I mean, you got MHT, you got Kevin Shannon, you had Reed Smith went to a lot of them.
Aaron
Those were the
Nelson.
only ones. Aaron,
Yeah, that was
Aaron
the
Nelson won a few of them.
Eric Nelson, Kevin Shannon, Justin Desai, Bryant Harold.
Johnny
and
Chu came out for one, I'm pretty sure.
I think it was
Yeah.
Johnny Chu also was
Yeah.
the other, was the fifth one. And then
Remember
me.
Jan had a couple of good runs at those too.
One of those is
Oh,
not
yeah.
the one.
So
And so, like, making top 6 with Brangus that year was fantastic. And then I got a consolidation trophy from 2011. From the match play in 2018, I got a consolation tournament.
was that
So-
just a
Yeah.
spelling error on a trophy or something?
It was.
Okay. I remember there was one year that Mike Richards in
Oh, that's
Texas ordered like the wrong year for the trophy
Oh,
of the
yeah.
Texas event because it was the first weekend of January and it was like it was 2012 by then, but he put 2011. I don't remember the exact
Well,
year.
one of
but
them
it
was supposed to be consolation top 4, and instead consolidation top 4.
That's
You
fantastic.
know what? I want to see the NPC or not the NPC, but I want to see some better trophies. I mean, we have the same ones year after year after year. I think, especially for next year, because it's going to be the PC's 15th anniversary.
I've always liked the idea of like a Stanley Cup style trophy that like it gets passed on year to year as opposed to
Ooh,
like
so-
get made a new one.
How
every
about
In
year.
this?
the past few years, I've been playing the Game of Thrones card game, right? And they have a
Yeah.
tournament that they've been running consistently since, I want to say it's 2005 in the New York City area. And they have
Something like that.
a tournament, like
Oh,
a Stanley
nice.
Cup, and it gets
Yeah.
engraved every year with the name.
Yeah.
And you are the keeper for the year.
Yeah. Or
What
like
do
a
you-
title
what do you
belt
guys-
kind of thing almost,
I
like
was going to say, that's
I'm
my
all in
next
on
thing.
games
Like,
as
what
well.
about a title belt one
Yeah.
year?
Yeah. Maybe like the OCS title belt, I don't know. We can make something like this work for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like I said,
And maybe
I-
for the Jawa Cup it can be like a Jawa utility belt.
I really think it should be a Jawa Sippy Cup.
Sippy Cup.
you know what? I'll see what I can do. I'll see what we can come up with the marketing.
That's right.
Come up with some good ones.
No, and Dan, I appreciate you getting prizes for all the participants of the Jawa Cup and something like
Yeah.
mats that we haven't given out in how many years?
Yeah,
that
we got
are
some
gonna go to the top
foils
3
that we're
So-
giving out for the top 8 and things like that. So yeah, I mean something that just sort of was a cool idea. It ended up being a really big event.
Yeah,
and with
and
prizes and all that good stuff. So
I'm
yeah,
going to say
super
this. Don't
stoked.
thank me. Thank Chris Menzel. He's all in charge, so he busted his butt, found the prizes and everything, and made sure that people get some cool stuff.
Yeah, Chris
'Cause,
always
I
does
mean,
a
the-
good job in that department. We're definitely sad to see him stepping down from the marketing advocate, but the time that he was there, I was always blown away by what they were able to come up with in that department. So, thank you very much, Chris, for all your hard work.
And it's kind of nice that the top 3 are going to get Eric White's a T-shirt of I want to say it was Rick Tick.
Oh, it was teacher.
That's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely cool. So, all right. Well, I think that was pretty much all I had planned for our sort of interview with
Yeah.
Bill. Thanks for making time for us, Bill, and thanks again for all the hard work that you put in with the Jawa Cup. and we'll see you again real soon.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you're going to be at you're going to be at Endor, right?
I will.
Yeah, we'll all be at Endor, so we'll all have a beer together or something like that. So, be
Well,
great to see you guys.
I hear Brian Fred wants to get a bunch of people together to go watch some wrestling
WWE
thing.
thing, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
Royal
see.
Rumble.
We'll see what happens. I'm down for. Oh, I'm always down for hanging out with Brian Fred.
Oh yeah,
he's a good guy to
yeah.
hang out with. So, all right.
Okay.
So we'll kind of cut it there. All right. Hey, we're back. Thanks for
We are.
thanks for watching that. That was a pretty fun little interview that we had with Taco Bill. It was
Yeah,
pretty. Go ahead.
he's always a lively and a great guy to talk with and hang out with. So
Yeah, he's been on at least a couple times with us. So
yeah, and I want to say he's going to be at Seattle, so
He
that's
is?
going to be even more fun.
I picked
I'm
him on
glad
my
he got-
fantasy team.
There's
You got to get your Endor fantasy team in. I picked my Team Colorado guys. I picked Taco Bill. Picked a few other guys. I think I picked Mike Turner. So I got kind of
Wow.
I got a variety bunch for my Endor team. So always fun to fill out those Endor fantasy sheets.
Yeah,
pick 100. It was more fun when we did the Worlds one that we kind of talked about with the draft and everything. But this
Oh, that was amazing. I think that they want to do that every year, so that's going to be really fun.
yeah.
I would
Something
love
keep track of.
to if you don't do it, I would love to do it on this. Have those guys all 7 of the other guys
That
on
would be
here.
something. Yeah, that would be something else. Yeah.
That'd be definitely
Be
something.
good television.
Good TV. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed tonight's Holotheatre episode. I also, before we signed off, I wanted to give a shout out to the whoever's been doing the Twitter updates lately for Star Wars. I think it's Jared Napoleano, or I can't remember his last name exactly, but
Yes.
Jared Knapp is his username on Slack and stuff. Shout out to you, man. I know you've just kind of recently joined the marketing team, and you kind of made that your specific sort of thing that you wanted to do, and you've been doing it really well. Like I found out about the Outrider Cup results while I was at work, because I saw it on there. So definitely super cool that that's becoming more a part of our social media. If you're not following the Star Wars CCG Twitter account, make sure to do that if you have that, because they've been kicking butt lately with updates
Yeah.
and cool things to check out. So
Yep. It's a good there. Thanks, Jerry, for doing that. Sorry, I'm.
you're good. It's okay. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. And check out our Monday show with Chris Gogolin, and keep those subscriptions coming in. And may the force be with you.